Hello everyone, I am Dr. Kavya Harika, working as a liver disease and liver transplant physician at Dr. Rala Institute and Medical Center, Krompet. Today I am going to be talking to you about the conditions that affect the liver. 3 conditions. 1. Fatty liver disease. 2. 5 important viruses that affect the liver. 3. The detailed description about hepatitis B virus, its symptoms, its cure and treatment. One of the most common conditions called as fatty liver. However, it is very less known. Hence, I want to talk about it. I will be talking about it in 5 important points. 1. What is fatty liver? 2. How does fatty liver happen? 3. What are the symptoms of fatty liver? 4. How do we diagnose fatty liver? And 5. How to treat it. So, let's start with talking about what is fatty liver. Fatty liver is a condition in which there is fat accumulation in the liver. Okay? So, generally liver do have some amount of fat. However, when it exceeds around 10%, we call it fatty liver. How does it happen? What happens when there is fatty liver? In fatty liver, there is something called as simple hepatitis or something called as steatohepatitis. In simple hepatitis, because there is fat accumulation in the liver, there is fat accumulation but the structure of the liver cells do not change at all. However, in steatohepatitis, the structure of the liver cells changes, that is, because of fat accumulation, the liver cells become big. Okay? So, now we will know what are the causes of fatty liver. There are several causes of fatty liver. Most common is alcohol, less common is something other than alcohol. So, when it is alcohol related, we call it alcohol related fatty liver disease. When it is non-alcohol related, we call it as non-alcohol related fatty liver disease. Okay. So, what is non-alcohol related fatty liver disease? Anyone who is obese, that is, their body mass index BMI is more than 30, fat accumulates in the liver. Someone who has long standing hypertension, that is BP. Someone who has long standing sugars, that is diabetes mellitus. A woman having polycystic ovarian disease. Someone who has smoking. Someone who has low levels of thyroid, that is hypothyroidism. All these conditions can cause fatty liver disease. These conditions together are called as metabolic syndrome. So, how do we diagnose fatty liver disease? We diagnose with very simple non-invasive, that is nothing invasive, such as blood tests and ultrasound. So, blood tests we do something called as liver function test. In liver function test, we look at the enzymes. If the enzymes have increased, we have to do a simple ultrasound abdomen. In the ultrasound abdomen, we see if there is fat accumulation and then diagnosed as fatty liver. What are the symptoms of fatty liver? Most of the patients will not have any symptoms in fatty liver. So, how do we diagnose it? Generally, when we see that patients have associated increased levels of cholesterol, long standing sugars, long standing BP, someone whose weight is more than required, that is BMI is more than 30, someone who is consuming alcohol, someone who is consuming a smoke, cigarette, all these people should be screened for fatty liver disease. Now we will know how to treat it. Is it preventable? The good news over here is, yes, it is preventable. There are grades in fatty liver disease such as grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 and grade 4. Anything beyond grade 4 goes to fibrosis. After that is permanent liver disease, which is not curable. But anything till grade 4 is reversible with treatment and hence it can be treated. So, how do we treat it? For example, patients who are obese, whose body mass index is more than 30, we ask them what is the reason for their obesity. We check their blood cholesterol levels, we check their thyroid levels, we ask them to monitor their diet, they have to consult a dietitian. Majority of their diet should consist of more of protein, less of fatty meal, less of carbohydrate meal. And secondly, we will ask them to exercise. For example, if anyone is 100 kilo weight, even reduction of 10% of weight, that is, if they become 90%, the fatty liver will reverse. Someone who has hypothyroid, that is, the thyroid condition, the thyroid hormone is less active. Supplementation with thyroid supplements will improve the thyroid condition and hence reduce the fatty liver. Someone who has cholesterol problem, so they have high levels of bad cholesterol and low levels of good cholesterol. This can cause fatty liver and hence we have to treat the cholesterol disease. So, we put them on medications which can reduce the cholesterol. Someone who is a chronic alcoholic, someone who consumes alcohol daily, they can also have. So, we ask them to be abstinent, that is, stop alcohol intake, which can reverse the fatty liver. One more, someone who smokes, someone who has chronic sugars, they also have to have controlled sugars with either insulin or tablets, and they have to be regularly monitoring their HbA1c level, that is, how are their sugars controlled in last 3 to 6 months. So, their sugar should be strictly under control. BP, someone who has long standing hypertension, they should be put on BP medications. So, these are the most common conditions that can cause fatty liver, but it can be completely reversible. Diet plays a major role in fatty liver. So, you can consult a dietitian and tell us what you should be taking, and we will tell you. It is in the form of low fat. Fat means people generally should avoid deep fried such as chips, any junk food. Okay, these things should be avoided. Low carbohydrate meal should be taken. I would preferably suggest a meal before 7 p.m. in the evening, preferably because it is good and it will reduce the help in reduction of fatty liver. Third is high protein intake. These diet modifications along with some exercise and weight reduction and modifying the underlying chronic diseases will help to reduce the fatty liver. Can fatty liver be fatal? That is, can fatty liver cause death? Fatty liver per se cannot cause death. However, if fatty liver is not diagnosed, if it is not treated, and if it progresses to the next stage of fibrosis and cirrhosis, it can cause liver failure and it can cause death. So, as everyone says, prevention is always better than cure. So, this disease is preventable and it's in our hands. It is a lifestyle disease, hence we can completely cure it. 5 viruses, that is the most common viruses that affect the liver. There are several viruses that affect the liver, but what I am going to be talking to you about are the 5 most common viruses that affect the liver, which can cause acute, that is, symptoms that occur immediately, or chronic liver disease. Okay. So, what are the 5 viruses? Hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, hepatitis D and hepatitis E. So, viruses from A to E. All these 5 viruses affect the liver. What do they cause and how do they spread? Hepatitis A and hepatitis E spreads through fecal-oral route. That means a person who was hepatitis A or E positive sheds that virus in this feces or stools, and that can spread through food or water contaminated with that. So, these viruses affects the persons with hepatitis A and cause hepatitis E. What are the symptoms of hepatitis A and E? Generally, hepatitis A and E function similarly, they produce symptoms similarly. Generally, these can cause just an acute disease and very rarely they become chronic. What does acute mean? Acute means symptoms that are caused immediately and they are not long standing. What does chronic mean? Chronic means this virus is been there in the liver for several years and it is causing symptoms. So, hepatitis A and hepatitis E are the viruses that generally cause acute illness because of spread from a contaminated person through food or water. So, how should we be careful? We should always make sure we wash our hands before eating and we always have water which is either boiled or which is a bottled water. Third, can hepatitis A and E cause fatal disease? That is, can it cause death? Very rarely, yes, it can cause liver failure and patients might need an urgent liver transplantation, otherwise they can die. So, the good news over here is very less percent of patients needs a liver transplantation. Most of them, that is, many of the percentage of the people, this disease is self-limiting. That is, within 2 to 3 months, our immunity is so good that it itself can clear the virus. What are the symptoms? How do we know that we have hepatitis A or hepatitis E? So, most of them might not have symptoms, but some of them may have symptoms like flu-like symptoms. This is what we call them. They can have jaundice, they can have body weakness, they can have fatigue, they can have loose stools, they can have stomach pain, they can have fever. So, someone who has yellowish discoloration of the eyes or someone who has dark colored urine, that is high colored urine, we should test them with blood tests and then we see whether they have jaundice. So, we do a test called liver function test. In the liver function test, we will know whether the person has jaundice or not. And then we also need to know whether there is acute illness or chronic illness. So, we do a basic test called as ultrasound abdomen. Ultrasound abdomen will tell us whether there is permanent liver disease because of this virus or it is just acutely affected. Can this be treated? Most of the times, hepatitis A virus and hepatitis E virus is self-limiting. That is, our body's defense mechanism, our body's immunity will clear it by itself. Most of the times we just give them symptomatic treatment. If there is fever, we treat the fever. If there is vomiting, we treat the vomiting. If there is jaundice, we give treatment to reduce the jaundice. But however, they come down by itself. But there are some percent of the patients who can go into failure because of hepatitis A or E and they might need urgent liver transplantation. Now next we talk about hepatitis B and hepatitis C virus. In my next segment, I am going to be talking to you in detail about hepatitis B. So right now I am just going to superficially tell you what can it cause and can we prevent it or not. Hepatitis B virus and hepatitis C virus are blood-borne viruses. That is, they spread through blood products. Can we prevent it? Yes, we can prevent it. How? By not giving the person the blood products of someone who was hepatitis B positive or hepatitis C positive. It can spread through tattooing. It can spread through ear piercing. Hence, it is very important we do these procedures under extreme sterile conditions. Next, does hepatitis B have a vaccine? Yes, it does have a vaccine. So, someone whom we test for hepatitis B, if they are negative, they can take hepatitis B vaccine and they are cured, they are safe. Does hepatitis C have a vaccine? No, it does not have a vaccine. However, nowadays the medications that we have both for B and C can cause cure for that. What are the symptoms of hepatitis B and hepatitis C? Hepatitis B and C are generally chronic diseases. That means usually they are present inside the body for several days to years, then only they present symptoms. Most of the times when we diagnose, they are asymptomatics, which is a bad news. That is why we don't consult a doctor. So, it is very important that we do master health checkups regularly and we do a test called liver function test. In liver function test, we see enzyme elevation. If there is enzyme elevation, we automatically ask for hepatitis B and C, and then we can know whether the person is suffering from it or not. So ultimately I want to tell you that there are 5 viruses which can affect the liver. There are several other viruses, but these 5 are common. Hepatitis A and E are transmitted to contaminated food or water. Hepatitis B and C are bloodborne. Hepatitis D is extremely rare. It does not occur singly. It generally, whenever it occurs along with hepatitis B virus. And we have vaccinations for hepatitis B virus and hepatitis A virus. One of the most common viruses that affects the liver. This is hepatitis B virus. This hepatitis B virus is known to cause infection in the liver. Okay, so how are we going to know about it? In 5 different stages. First, how does it affect us? Second, what does it cause? Third, what are the symptoms that it can cause? 4, how do we test it? 5, what is the treatment? First, what is hepatitis B? As I told you, it is one of the very important viruses that we should know. It is like all of us know so much about COVID virus now, but do we all know about hepatitis B virus? I think this is also a silent pandemic. It is very important that we are aware about hepatitis B virus because this can cause liver failure. So this hepatitis B virus, how does it spread? It can spread, 1, either from the childhood, 2, mother to child transmission, 3, blood products, 4, sexual transmission. So how does it spread? In the childhood, for example, if the family members are hepatitis B positive, so the child can get it. 2, parental, mother to child. How does that happen? During delivery, when a mother's blood comes in contact with the child's blood, that's when it can spread. Third, sexual transmission, because hepatitis B spread through bodily fluids. 4, it can spread through blood products, that is someone who is receiving a blood from a hepatitis B positive person. One more condition that can spread is IV drug abusers, someone who uses IV drugs, that is for addiction, they can also develop hepatitis B. Okay. What are the symptoms? Symptoms, most of the hepatitis B virus symptoms are acute, that is they generally do not have symptoms. Okay. So it is very important that we keep screening them. Most of the hepatitis B patients will be asymptomatic. This is not a good news. So how will we know when they are asymptomatic? That is why it is very important that we do screening. For whom do we do screening? We do hepatitis B screening for high risk group. Who are the high risk group? One is if any of the family member is hepatitis B positive. It is very important that the rest of the family is checked for hepatitis B virus. Second, anyone who is undergoing chronic dialysis. So these patients will have dialysis machines. They'll be on dialysis for a prolonged period of times from the same instrument. So they should be checked for hepatitis B virus. 3, someone who is receiving blood. So once upon a time, hepatitis B and hepatitis C were not screened before giving the blood products. But now after 1992, hepatitis B and hepatitis C is screened. So generally it is not spread through blood products anymore. Hepatitis B is checked before performing any major surgery. And 5 is, because it spreads through sexual transmission, it is very important to follow methods of contraception. Next point is, how do we test for hepatitis B? Very important. See, people who do not have hepatitis B, people who are unaware of hepatitis B, because nowadays we are doing preventive measures, that is many people are undergoing master health checkup, which is a very good point, you know. In that we will see something called as liver function test. In the liver function test we can see the enzymes called as SGOT and SGPT. If these are elevated, okay, then we can see, okay, this person has some liver problem. So we will check for hepatitis B and hepatitis C. Okay, can we prevent hepatitis B? Yes, we can prevent hepatitis B. How do we prevent it? At least before 15 years, hepatitis B vaccine was not available. But right now, hepatitis B vaccine is very much available. And the good news is, the children who are right now who are born, hepatitis B vaccine is included in their immunization schedule. So, hepatitis B patients who have already developed hepatitis B cannot take the vaccine. But however, someone who is screened for hepatitis B, and if it is negative, they can take the vaccine and they can prevent themselves from getting the virus. Next is, do we have a treatment for hepatitis B? Yes, we have a treatment for hepatitis B, but the only thing is we cannot cause complete cure. What we can do is we can prevent it from forming complications. Hepatitis B is a virus which is known to be deadly. This virus affects the liver. This virus over a period of several years can cause permanent liver damage, which is called as cirrhosis. This cirrhosis can go into permanent liver failure, and hepatitis B is known to be notorious for causing cancer in the liver. Hence, it is very important that we know about hepatitis B virus. Okay? So, we need to treat. First of all, we need to know whether hepatitis B virus is there. Second of all, once we know that hepatitis B virus is there, we do a test to know how much virus is there. And then based on that and the liver test and the symptoms of the person, we decide whether we start them on treatment or not. However, someone who has hepatitis B, it is extremely important to screen them with a scan, that is an ultrasound abdomen, which is very easily available at every center, in every lane, in every diagnostic center, just to know that there is no cancer because of hepatitis B. So, this ultrasound abdomen has to be done every 6 months without fail in patients who have hepatitis B positivity. Okay, this is a very important thing. Hepatitis B is there, but I am not on treatment, so I don't have any problem, is not right. Hepatitis B people should always be screened for the cancer every 6 months. One more thing is, based on which stage it is, whether it is asymptomatic or whether it is symptomatic, whether it's developed complications, we decide and we start the treatment. There is one tablet that you have to take every day after food till the doctor asks you to stop. Okay? We cannot, the patient should not stop the hepatitis B tablet by themselves. They have to consult the doctor, and if the doctor says, then only it should be stopped. Most unlikely that it can be stopped. Most of the patients should be taking this lifelong. Now, one good thing about this disease is, it is right now being screened at most of the places, and treatment options are available. Screening options in the form of very easy techniques called ultrasound abdomen is available everywhere, so that we don't miss a cancer or we don't miss a permanent liver disease. However, if hepatitis B causes permanent liver disease or cancer, which is within the criteria, we offer them liver transplantation. So, let me just conclude, how do we save our liver? Okay? Is there anything that we can do to save our liver? Yes, we can. What are the important points, the salient features to prevent us from getting these diseases? First, how do we prevent fatty liver? We can prevent fatty liver, as I mentioned to you, by having a healthy lifestyle, an active lifestyle, lifestyle which includes a lot of activity in the form of exercise. Do anything that you like, either exercise, dance, workout, walking, whichever is easy for you. Just do whatever you want so that you do not have excess fat in the body. You have any diseases that cause fatty liver, sugars, cholesterol, thyroid, BP, put them always under control. Always motivate, be in groups wherein, see, you're feeling bored to walk alone, you're feeling bored to work out alone, be with people who motivate you, be with people who inspire you. All of you go for a walk together, all of you have a dance together, and remember, eating is very important for fatty liver. Never have junk food. Always have high protein diet. Try to minimize your meals. Say like have small frequent meals instead of a large meal. Every 2 hours have a small meal, have a meal which is healthy. Try to include greens, try to include a lot of fibers. This will help it, okay. Now, what do we do about all the other viruses that affect the liver? As I told you, B and A has vaccine, so might as well prevent it, get it checked. If it's negative, get the vaccine done. And hepatitis A and E can be prevented completely by always maintaining the regular hygienic program, washing your hands before eating and washing your utensils before eating or drinking water. Always be safe. Even if you're eating outside, you have a lifestyle where you generally eat outside, just wash your hands. Make sure you wash your own glass and your plate. And lastly, I would say prevention is better than cure. Always go for regular master health checkups. Get your blood tests done, get your scans done. All these are diseases which can be prevented. All these are diseases which can be asymptomatic. They might not have symptoms, but however, we can pick them early and make sure that you don't have complications for this. Thank you.